Welcome, everybody, to another week of Wealth Wisdom, where we're helping you build wealth and legacy.
Companies are like an organism trying to survive.
It's always a risk when you're investing in a company that's purely tied to someone's brand.
45% of Americans have gone into debt for a Disney trip. All right, everybody, welcome to Wealth Wisdom, powered by Fox Hill Wealth Management. I'm your host, Justin Obi, and with me is Eric Benz, our data guy, always with a quick data clip. It's fantastic. We're going to cut all that.
Keep it. That's the entertaining part of it.
And we got a big, extra warm welcome to Matt Morizio, who has his own financial advisory practice, Reconstructing Wealth. Matt, welcome to the show.
Let's go. Thanks for having me. I'm pumped to be on it.
Second attempt it's the trick.
I take ownership on the first one. I don't know what happened to my Wi-Fi, but I'm going to take the ownership.
Dude, sometimes that Wi-Fi, I think it was a full moon. That's what it was.
There you go.
Sure. No, it's good to have you on the show, man. Very
Thank
excited.
you. Good to have you, dude. Like a long-time listener, first-time caller. Here we are.
We got to do this live next time. We'll do a live show. People can call in.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
See you later, Dave Ramsey.
Did you see? There was a meme. Dave Ramsey was in a hospital bed. This was all fake. He's in a hospital bed, laid up, and it said, "Someone check on Dave Ramsey. The 50-year mortgage is being talked about."
Oh yeah, I did see that's perfect.
I mean, hilarious, because he's all about. If you guys don't, if you're listening, Dave Ramsey's a big pay off your mortgage, no debt. That's his whole ethos. What do you guys think about that, by the way? Where do you
the 50-year more? Oh, you know how I feel about it. I would wonder if Matt has a similar philosophy. I think it's for him to blanket say, "Oh, pay off the mortgage." That's the best debt you can have, and if it means you're sacrificing investing in the stock market, I don't know if that's the best move in the long run. I don't know what your thoughts are there, Matt.
Yeah, my thoughts. First off, I think people knock him so much because of that, because most of the time his comments, the math doesn't actually work out. But I think of somebody like Dave Ramsey, I'm like, love him or hate him, he's helped a lot of people with their finances. So it's like, just appreciate that part of it. It's kind of like, he's like the CrossFit of finance, But people hate on CrossFit all the time, and it may not be the best thing to do fitness-wise, but as a movement, CrossFit's gotten a lot of people healthy. So it may not be the smartest thing or the best thing, but with Dave Ramsey, I like his attitude toward a lot of like financial habits, and especially some of the relational stuff that he talks about. But no, most of the time, like paying off your debt for your mortgage, is probably not, it's not the right move. It's probably going to like really sacrifice current lifestyle, all in the name of debt. I always say, like, the debt conversations, there's two sides to the same coin. One is the numbers. How do the numbers play out? What are the expected returns over the long term? And then the other one's the emotional side. If you legitimately can't sleep at night on your 7% mortgage or 6% mortgage, then like maybe it is worth paying off, because the hospital bills later on in life from all the stress you're causing yourself might actually be more expensive. So I'll have those conversations, but most of the time, like Eric, like our jobs of advisors is to tell the real truth, and sometimes the truth hurts, and trying to get people to do what's right for them, even if it doesn't feel good all the time.
Yeah, that's definitely what Dave Ramsey does. I feel like half his show for calling in is just scolding people for their like lifestyle and spending habits. I don't know if I go that far, but yeah, he's pretty amazing.
Yeah, he prescribes an extreme solution to the problem, which I think some people need sometimes. So that harsh truth you need to hear. I'm sure some of it's also entertainment value.
Right? Oh, he's good at it.
Yeah, he's
really good at it.
He's got a media empire. But all of that kind of plays in with what we're talking about today. We're going to go into the week's news as today's show, including the Fed's latest moves, the beloved penny, the government shutdown impacts, how that's all affected the economy and what's going on. But here's a stat I want to open the show with. It stopped me in my tracks, but it was according to the National Association of Home Builders, nearly 75% of American households cannot afford to buy a median priced home this year. Recently in the news, that's three out of 4 families being priced out of what used to be the American dream, or maybe still is. So there's an extreme shortage of supply, I think, in the country. But we've talked about there's renting versus owning. We've talked about that on the show a little bit. And this week, there was a 50-year mortgage proposal that shot out. So we're going to get into all of that today on the show. I want to hear what you guys think.
Nice.
I think it's number two.
The 50-year mortgage is that supposed to solve the affordability issue?
It's supposed to.
It's supposed to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. This is why I wanted to talk about this today, because there's a lot of opinions out there. Does it actually do that, right? Or will home values just skyrocket further?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's a supply issue, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. So we're going to dive into that today. Let's tackle some quick hits news really quick. We already talked about the Fed. The Fed has cut rates by 25 basis points, so 0.25% in October. They're saying that they might not cut in December.
Yeah, that's why we had that negative day yesterday in the market. A lot of like meme stocks or some of those high flying tech companies, nuclear, data centers, a lot of crypto. Crypto was down big. Bitcoin's down like 20% from its top, 25%. So we saw all those react accordingly. Good. Maybe it's profit taking, but it's people looking at, Fed's not going to lower rates potentially in December.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think they will. My personal bet is they'll end up cutting. I think. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I'm no fortune teller. I have no clue. The market is showing that the below 50% chance now. The price they're factoring in, which that surprises me. I think that there's a better than 50% chance of it, but I think they'll lower it. But you're right, like with Eric, what you said about the pricing, what we see, super reactive to what the expectations of the future are. And if the future just got worse all of a sudden, there's definitely an overreaction piece to it. But that's why the market is in the long term economical, but like in the short term, it's so emotional. It's like working with the human. It's like an impossible prediction.
Yeah. Have you ever had a client that I've just seen this sometimes, like when a client tends to be long term focused, but then maybe they hit retirement age, some kind of milestone. The second they hit retirement age, now they're looking at their account all the time, and the short-term margin volatility causes them to freak out. Have you ever had clients have that happen to them before?
It's like panic and worry. And yes, part of our job is to talk people off the ledge, but the best way that I've found to be able to do that is to show them data and show them facts about their specifics, not like Wall Street Journal headlines. I use a planning tool, like we all have our own planning tools, and I can quite literally show them that, okay, here's where your portfolio value is at now. Here's how many less, probably like tens of dollars, is probably really what the reality is, you can spend per month, or maybe $100 less per month as of right now, as of that last catastrophic world shaking drop that you just felt that was maybe like a couple percent. It's like you can now spend $10 less per month. So like we're going to be okay, I promise. But that helps a lot because it's so difficult to see your money tank in front of your eyes. But when you have a tool that shows like how that plays out over 30 years, and more importantly in terms of your ability to spend, because that's what people worry about, that usually puts them at ease.
Yeah.
And you're talking about Income Lab, right? That's
the tool I use. Yeah, Income Lab. I think they do the best job putting the end client in the driver's seat. This is not a pitch for Income Lab. I don't get any kickback from Income Lab. They just have what's called a spending capacity number, basically like how much can you spend per month. And it's a really good, helpful visual and a useful tool for me, but a helpful visual for the user, the end client, to feel like, because they are in control. Because I don't think like somebody's retirement needs to be a pass or fail experiment. It's going to be like, hey, I know I will be fine, but I have these guardrails I got to stay within. So the ownership is on me. So when there's a catastrophic drop, I actually had a person just yesterday worried because of the conversation about in the 1920s, people lost all their money. She's, I'm just panic stricken that something's going to happen in the economy. I'm going to lose all my money. And I was actually able to use Income Lab as a tool. They have a part of your tool where you can take your actual money and run it through the worst times in American history. So I was like, hey, let's look at how you would have spent your money in the Great Depression currently. And it was helpful because she's like, all right, I guess I didn't run out of money. Okay, got it. Thanks. That's a little overreaction. Thank you for.
I will say, go ahead, Justin. Sorry.
All I said is sometimes that's exactly the job, walking them through that emotional roller coaster.
And that tool Matt's talking about, that's a great tool. I've started using that, Matt. I had been using eMoney before, and I find a lot of those reports, like massive spreadsheets of what you're spending each year, how they account, it just confuses everybody, and they leave not totally knowing what ultimately they can spend in retirement.
Correct. Agreed. I'm guilty of having delivered so many of those multiple 40-page reports where the eyes roll back after page 2, and I'm there like, we're 12 minutes into this hour-long meeting, and I've already lost you. What am I doing here? Like I'm guilty of that.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Other news, we got the shutdown has now come to an end. The longest shutdown of ever. Crazy is that the cost of the shutdown. So another kind of drag on the economy here, and I think things are turning around quickly. I'm glad it's shut down, but you saw the effects of that with the SNAP benefits cut, the long lines for TSA, people not working without pay. But it was estimated $15 billion a week that it was costing. So over $1 trillion in total that shut down. So I think, are you guys seeing the market price that in now? That, Eric, did you see, was that something that helped out this week? Or the market?
It was funny. It was when before the shutdown ended, people got caught wind, 2 days beforehand, and then the market rallied. Trump signs the document to end the shutdown officially, and then the market went down dramatically, like over 2 days.
Yeah.
But that more had to do with the Fed's upcoming decision. People, or at least everyone speculates after the fact, but no one truly knows. That's why, like, Matt and our investment philosophy is buy companies that we think are going to do well in the long run. We're not totally concerned about the day to day, but
we're not. You guys aren't trading the stocks at all. Yeah.
But the shutdown was probably expensive, and the big thing in our industry was the delay of release of economic data. So not having that data means you can't look ahead and pick companies you think are going to do well.
Yeah. Then it was just, that's where the 50-year mortgage came out. It was over one weekend, last weekend, and I think it was tweeted. I think President Trump tweeted it or put it out there on social saying, "Hey, this would be a great idea."
Is this a serious thing? Do other countries have this? Is this, or
I thought other countries have it? Matt, do you know? I don't think so.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't even know how serious it is as a reality. Like, I don't even know if the industry could do that or would do that. I also heard, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but the idea of a portable mortgage has been thrown out there.
That just came out, I think, yesterday.
Yeah, which means it's like a term. Your mortgage is set for term, but it's tied to the owner of the mortgage, not to the property, which is a whole different approach to it. So, like, you take your 3% and the remainder of your term into your next purchase because it's tied to you, not your home. So again, I can't even tell you the mechanics on that, but that's a really interesting concept.
I think it's a far better idea.
I would question how the bank protects themselves, though, right? Because you have your house as collateral when you have a mortgage for that. But I wonder how that would work.
Yeah, maybe it only is viable for people who have a lot of assets, either properties or investment accounts or something, like so the bank can feel confident in it. So that might actually not work at all for people who have zero net worth.
Well,
I don't know.
It's still tied to a home. It's just the home of that time. That's the collateral at that moment. When then the portability of it transfers to the next home you buy.
Right.
So I like this idea because, let's get into it. The problem with the mortgages is that you're paying the bank mostly interest up front.
Yeah.
That's how they're designed. So a 50-year mortgage, like, yes, your monthly price is going to be lower, right? What you're paying. It's so technically a little more affordable, but you're not making a dent in the equity.
Yeah. Also, the price actually, I've seen the numbers like projections. It doesn't really dramatically drop the monthly number enough for me to say,
It's like a
oh,
couple
that could
$100.
solve the affordability issue. Because the affordability, nobody stays in a home for 30 or 50 years. It's rare. So, like,
Yeah.
at some point, almost everybody sells. So, really, what the challenge for people to buy a home today is because they don't have the cash flow to support that monthly payment. So if you stretch it out 50 years, maybe it should help the cash flow of a month to month. But it dropped like an average median size mortgage from like 3,300 to $3,000 or something was what I saw.
Yeah,
Oh,
not too
yeah,
3,300
much at all.
feels,
you know.
if 3,300 feels like too much, $3,000 is probably still going to feel like a stretch.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And they put a graph. It's crazy. Did you guys see this in the show notes? So look at this graph. I'll share the screen, but here's this graph. So did you guys see that in there? So we'll put this in the show as well. But the cost to buy versus the cost to rent has just skyrocketed. Just incredible. Why do you think it has suddenly become so expensive to buy? What is driving? And I guess to add to that question, what are you guys saying to clients? Do you have clients who are looking to buy? What is generally what's going on out there that you guys are seeing?
What we're seeing, which the guest we had on a couple weeks ago, Paul Nardozzi, spoke about, is you're seeing a lot more of the prior generation helping out the first-time home buyers with their down payment for homes. But we're seeing that a lot from our clients. We're often wiring out funds for down payments for their kids because people just can't afford it. But that is interesting, this massive gap between cost to rent versus cost to buy. Cost to rent at $1,800 a month versus cost to buy at $2,700. Wow. At a certain point, like, why not keep renting and stay invested in the stock market? I don't know if you suggest that to clients, Matt, who maybe can't afford a home. You say, what's the point? Like, just keep renting. Is that what you say to people, or?
Yeah, I describe correct people, I should say, to say your home, your primary home, is really not a financial investment. It's an investment in your family. It's an investment in the experiences of your children or your spouse and yourself. But it's not a financial investment. If you want to think of it as a financial investment purely, then there are better ways to make money. So I tell people, like, if you don't have the desire to renovate and remodel and build something that is uniquely yours because that's something that you feel like you want for your kids, for your life, to use your gifts, whatever it is, I'm like, if you're happy in a nice new apartment or home that you're renting and you have no desire to renovate or change it, like, then use your money differently. If you're thinking of, I need to buy a home because it's a better investment. No, that's not true. You actually can invest your money differently in the market or other real estate. Shoot. If you want to own real estate because you feel like people have told you're supposed to, whatever that means, like, go ahead and buy a multifamily and rent the place you live in.
Yes,
So, like,
yeah.
rent where you live and own where you rent. That's one philosophy.
I think if you're looking for affordability, that buying like a 2-family or 3-family, 4-family, if you can do it, it's going to add. You're having other people help pay the mortgage,
Right.
and oftentimes it can be much more affordable for you.
Yeah, and I do often tell people, especially like the first time home buyer who maybe doesn't have a kid yet or maybe has one child, or they are in the best spot to buy like a duplex or 3-family, 4-family, because you get that first time home buyer discount on the down payment. You don't have to put 20% necessarily. So you can buy a 4-family for a fraction of the down payment. If the numbers work, you don't have to worry about the mortgage payment anyway, because realistically you should be buying it because the tenants are paying the majority, if not all, of your rent. And that's a huge house hack for new first time buyers.
I think it's a great one for if you're willing to do it. Do you think if you are able to do that, how can someone, to me, it just reinforces the idea of investing for the long term and taking advantage of compounding. So it's like, for my kids, I'm like, how can I teach them now to start investing? my fifth grader, he's all into the stock market game in their math class, and so pumped, right? And I think there are certain products where kids can start to learn this for like with fake money, and that it's real stock trading, real tickers, everything. I guess that to ask you guys, what's it like? What's the age of your youngest client, Matt?
Oh man, youngest client, I
Yeah,
think
that's
25.
awesome. I think that's great. Eric, do you have
Yeah.
any really young clients?
Yeah, 20, 23,
Wow.
23-year-old.
See,
Yeah, they're renting. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I just want to give you guys this data point though. It's the average U.S. home. Its value has historically grown 4 to 5% a year.
Right.
I think sometimes we all just factor in what happened the last 5 years is what we really think about. And home values obviously skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And where we are in New England, it was like everything was up 50% over like 2 years.
That's great.
But that hasn't historically been the norm. Whereas historically, the stock market has grown at 10% a year. Obviously, the last 15 years, it's been like 15% a year.
Mm.
But historically, you'll make more in the stock market. And when the cost to buy a home is so much higher than the cost to rent, you might as well be taking your savings and putting it in the stock market. And then maybe as you get closer to that, having that down payment, you start pulling it out a little bit at a time and put it in cash and set it aside. But so that,
Yeah.
well, yeah, that's what we're preaching to younger clients.
Mm.
But it's also, there's different levels of investing, obviously. And if they just put it in the S&P, what are you saying? It was an average of 10% year over year.
Historically, over like the
That's just like throw
existence
it
of
in a
it, right?
passive fund. Do you
Yeah.
think 10% is enough to be able is that a good thing? Is that good? Or does it have to be higher in today's market?
I mean,
Yeah.
I never been a person that wanted to earn less, put it that way. Yeah, I think with investing, risk and reward are they go hand in hand. Usually, if you're going to go for the bigger returns, you're probably putting more risk out there. Like the likelihood of it to go to zero or near zero gets higher the returns you chase.
Yeah.
Like the extreme example, the venture capitalist investor has a portfolio company of 30 companies, and 4 of them hit and the rest go to zero. Like that's the extreme example, but that's how you can think about it is
their outsized returns are going to carry the whole portfolio.
Correct. Those 4 might have returned multiple thousands of percent returns on the money and carried the whole 30. But that certainly is like a high return, but also high risk because the rest of them went to zero.
So do you? Yeah. Sorry. What were you gonna say, Eric?
I was just gonna say, Justin, it's not from like the planning nerd perspective. There is no, this percentage return is enough return. Like every planner is gonna say the only thing we truly can control is your living expenses.
Yeah.
That's what they'll always say, which is why that tool Matt uses is all about what you can control, which is your monthly living expenses. The market's going to go up and down over time. If we're invested a certain way, we'll get an outsized return, but what can you control? How much you're spending every day.
Yeah. So save as much money as you can. Put everything in the stock.
And there's to get 10% and not have to know a single thing about investing, you just put it into this ticker and be like, okay, I guess that's all I need to do. That's pretty good because those venture capitalists have spent decades perfecting what vetting companies, and what they do is like figure out winning teams and winning. Like they have a very specialized, skilled niche knowledge set that somebody like your 5th grader can just dump money into a ticker and make 10%. That's pretty good. Like get outsized returns. Often there is an associated knowledge and skill set that comes with that. There needs to be.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I was bringing it up. I think that the passive, yes, it's great, and you'll hear a lot of people suggest that for the average investor because it's better. But I also love that part of our philosophy at Fox Hill is that active managed approach, trying to mitigate the risk while also trying to outperform the market. Which I'm sure Matt, I don't know. I think you share that
Yep.
as well. Which I think it's what we need to be doing for clients today. But back to the 50-year mortgage really quick, because I know we're going to do a short show today. The 50-year, here's another crazy thing. So it'll save you a couple $100 a month. Save like average $216 a month on the average home today. So a $400,000 home as an example. But do you guys know how much more interest you'll pay?
Oh, I'm sure way more because I'm sure the interest rate's higher too, right? Is it
Same interest rate, Eric. Same.
No, it's going to be higher. There's no way.
Just for this example.
Okay.
Same interest. So I kept it the
Yeah.
same. They'll pay $389,000 more in interest over the life of the 50-year loan.
It's the value of the home. Again.
Yeah. And so just by extending that, it's just a play for banks, right? Like the bank is just profiting. I don't know if it's helping. And even if it makes the home more affordable, if people can afford more homes, doesn't it just inflate higher with that?
Oh yeah. Well, that's an assumption that you think it even. Yeah, you think prices will just go up if they make homes slightly more affordable too? I would assume
Because you
that.
can
I
buy
don't
more
know.
house, I think. I don't
Yeah.
know, but you have, right. It's just supply and demand.
Yeah.
Someone said this week, and someone on probably LinkedIn or something, they said the problem isn't with the affordability, it's how the mortgages are structured. And because when you see a mortgage, Matt, you're paying in the first 5-10 years of the mortgage, it's mostly interest. So if they can restructure that, it would actually be a better thing for Americans. You get more equity up front.
Yeah. But man, try to take money out of people's pockets. That's a tough one. You were literally telling the banks you can no longer profit the same way on these mortgages that you have for the last however many decades. So
Right.
it can happen, but it's probably going to take an act of government regulation. Like in the same way, Obamacare, when it got rolled out, these providers quite literally were told, hey, you are no longer going to collect the same on the same procedure. We are now going to reimburse you at 50% of what you were getting paid doing the same work.
Really?
And they had to swallow that pill because it was a new government regulation that was industry wide. And I actually know a guy that was a chiropractor, and then he built like a pain management multi-site practice. So started with chiropractic and then got into like nerve blocks and other things because they had similar patients. He sold his entire practice. He's sold for a great number and he's out and doing great now. But he saw the writing on the wall. He's, wait, you're telling me that once this new Obamacare comes out, I am no longer going to I have to now chop my profits by 50% just because of the government regulation? But I have to do the same work? I'm out.
That's crazy.
So I think you'd see a lot of that from banks. You'd see, I don't know what it would look like, sales consolidations, or you'd
That's really
see
interesting.
prices. They try to recapture profit somewhere else. So you'd see these like monthly fees on savings accounts that used to not exist. That all of a sudden they're starting to charge you $1,000 a year on a savings account or something. They're going to have to recoup their profit. So American people are going to pay. They're going to pay somehow. Yeah. You saw hospital systems now just charge exorbitant prices on the same procedures, so that 50% reimbursement is still roughly closer to the same net profit they were making.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't think it's actually going to solve the problem.
I think I don't think it does either. And I talked about this last week, which the show never got aired. It's the missing show, we'll call it.
Right. Blame the full moon.
But it was a good show. But we were also talking about how the generational shift in investing. And so younger generations starting to invest earlier than the previous generations. I think it's personally out of necessity. They're seeing, like my nephew, he's in college. He just went to college. And he's like, hey, Uncle Justin, what do I do? What stocks can I buy today? Like, he was all about it. And I was never. Were you guys like that at 18, 17?
No.
Nope.
The other thing too, it's been made. Apps like Robinhood have made it so much easier, right? You can open an account same day. trade stocks on your phone, or the automatic 401k investment plans, every job you're at now, that stuff didn't used to exist.
Yep.
It's all start investing earlier.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's great.
And then this week we had Uncle Warren Buffett has officially retired at the ripe old age. I don't know. He hasn't retired. He's just passed the torch. Excuse me.
Yeah. It's going to go quiet.
Yes. Did you guys see his last letter to investors this week?
What did he say?
It's a great letter. I have not read through it completely yet, but I like it so far.
He talked about relationships and people more than stuff. Is that right? Yeah. I did see some of it.
Yeah, he's got some really good quotes, a little final wisdom from the Oracle of Omaha himself. And yeah, it's a lot of that. It's choose your heroes very carefully and then emulate them. There's one line out of it.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that the cleaning lady is as much a human being as the chairman of which is
what a cutie pie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cutie pie.
And he also has big pro-American longevity. It's always going to come back. Don't despair. America will come back, and so will Berkshire shares. That's referencing the stock. It's fallen 50% 3 times, and it always comes back. So, highly recommend everyone read it. It's a really good thing. But we own some Berkshire Hathaway stock, Eric.
We do, and it's been our little safety pick in the portfolio, sitting on hordes and hordes of cash. Yeah. So I wonder, but obviously this makes you wonder, is their investment philosophy going to change at all over time as Warren Buffett's less and less involved? So we will see, and we'll have to monitor that going forward.
Yeah, I was just going to say, do you have any immediate feelings about Greg Abel? He's 63 years old. He's been on the... People will have known he's going to take Warren Buffett's place for a while. Any thoughts there?
No, I think it's such a large company, it'll be status quo. It's going to operate as it has. Yeah.
In that letter alone, you could see Warren Buffett's a thoughtful guy.
Yes.
There was no decision within that he took lightly. He's vetted Greg from obviously a financial acumen standpoint, but also, I'm sure, as a person, what are his morals? What are his ethics like? I don't think there's a part of him that Warren didn't decide upon. So it's probably going to be a good pick. I don't think Skeleton's going to come out of that closet.
Probably not.
Could be surprised, but
yeah.
You know, my favorite Warren Buffett quote or ism is he always would say, people would ask him a million things at the Investor Day in Omaha. But people would ask about relationships, and someone asked, "Oh, what's the key to a long-lasting marriage?" And he would say, "Low expectations is the key, right?" You won't be disappointed then.
I've heard that.
That's awesome. I mean, he praises Greg Abel, says he has more than met the high expectations I had for him when I first thought he would be Berkshire's next CEO. So he has high expectations for Greg. And as he should, right? Investors are looking at that pretty carefully. So I thought that was an interesting one. They have, to your point, Eric, they're sitting on $334 billion in cash, ready to deploy.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
They're ready. They're ready. When valuations come down, they're ready to buy.
Yeah.
How old's Warren now?
95.
Yeah. How much is he really doing day to day?
Supposedly he's still in the office every day.
It's awesome.
It feels great.
95? Yeah.
It's amazing. Health is wealth.
And relationships coming straight from the guy with more cash than you could ever imagine to do anything with.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's cool. I think that's a really cool point. I always say success leaves clues. A guy like that who's made all the money in the world talks about money not being the thing that's lasting, that matters. I think money will buy you some comfort for sure. Mm-hmm. But I do think it's probably important for us to pay attention to the relationships in our life. If here's this guy on his deathbed, not really, but he's at the end of his end, right. He's in the 5-yard line, we'll say, talking back. I always appreciate hearing people's deathbed perspective, especially when they have achieved high levels of success in any area. It's almost always them referring back to people in their lives that matter the most.
I totally agree, Matt. And I think this is one thing he recommended, but I also read it recently in another book I'm reading, The Art of Spending by Morgan Housel. But he says they both say to recommend people to write your obituary now and what you would want it to say.
Yeah.
And then reverse engineer your life to make sure that happens.
Yep.
Wow.
I've actually done that before. It's a weird exercise.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm sure it's very powerful to do that. I haven't done it yet, but I'm probably going to take it.
Speaking of Buffett's generosity, he is actually donating 99% of his wealth.
Awesome.
It's all going to charity, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he actually lives it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would do 99%.
His heirs still have plenty of money.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
It's true.
I think they'll be okay. But there's a lot. So read this book. It's a great book, The Art of Spending by Morgan Housel. And he even talks, like, the last chapter I read, it was about the Vanderbilt Empire and how they lost it all. And in leaving that amount of money to that next generation destroyed those kids. So maybe, I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe Warren's got something there as well.
Yep.
So anyway, I think this was a great show. Thank you guys for being here, as always. Matt, it was a pleasure to have you on.
Appreciate you guys big time.
Thanks for making me do it. I was gonna back out, but no, it was a nice show.
Fun. Bill, you've been officially replaced. Just letting you know, Bill.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Wow, everyone listening, thank you so much for listening. Please, if you found value in today's show, or if you didn't, let us know. But if you found value, share it with a friend. That's how we keep growing the show. We will see you next Friday, and ta-ta for now. See you guys.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks.